Welcome to the detailing show.
Listen, Tranquility base here. The Eagle has landed.
Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear. Clear. The clock has started.
The clock has started.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Detailing Show. If this is your first time with us, welcome. We're here 7:30 every Sunday right here on Tranquility Based Detailing. Coming up in this episode, we have 10 waxes in total. It's a new record for an episode of the Detailing Show. We're going to take a look at some Wax Planet goodies. We're going to take a look at these 8 wheel waxes right here. So we'll look at the Wax Planet stuff first. Let's begin. So we're going to kick off this episode with Duragloss and Polygloss, which are 2 really new products from the Wax Planet stable. They're a liquid wax and gloss spray product respectively. The Duragloss, you're looking at a 500ml bottle. It's going to set you back $14.99 on Wax Planet's website. Durability is rated at around about 3 months on this one, and it is a combination of carnauba, montan, paraffin and some other goodies which they chuck in there just to make this wonderful little bottle all that it is. So I'm going to check that one out first. We're going to use with the review as well their Polygloss, which is a spray gloss enhancer. So it has some cleaning ability is in there as well, but for the purposes of this review we've looked at it purely as a gloss enhancer. It doesn't mention anywhere on the labeling of any protection that it lays down, so we're going to view this purely as something to add gloss, but it does recommend on the website and on the label to shake well before use, because as you can see it does settle, but quick shake through and it will be absolutely right as rain. So let's jump right into it. Those are those 2 products here. Price wise on the Polygloss is £12 for this bottle, just so that I don't miss that. Yeah, let's have a look at these first and I will see you on the other side of this. Enjoy. So the day after I filmed this, and in fact it wasn't the day after I filmed it, it was the night of the day of filming. I'm sat at home and I was feeling a little bit verbose, a little bit loquacious, and I decided I'm going to write a quick review out. And I was feeling really conflicted after using these products, and I mean that in a good way, I mean that in a nice way. And I said in this typed review, and it's on Facebook and Instagram, that I feel like I cheated. So I want to give a bit of context to that as a statement and kind of let you guys know what I mean. I have for a long time loved waxing. For me, it's a real pleasurable experience. I know not all of you will share that with me, but you know, a lot of you will, and you'll understand. It's such a relaxing, calming, rewarding, satisfying thing for me. You know, when I'm finishing off a car to do that. And when I kind of got to using this, it took everything that, you know, you get as an end result, and it's been put into this squishy 500ml bottle of purple goo, and it really gets you the net result of what any good paste wax will, just with really minimal effort. You know, I said in that review I like, you know, the hands-on approach with, you know, waxing, you know, taking the swipe out of the pot. You lose all that, so a big part of the theatre of that process is gone, and I did miss that with this. You know, it's not going to sort of replace waxing for me, because I'm always going to enjoy that part of the process, but what it was able to do was give me something that is so easy to use. You know, I'm talking beyond simple, you know, idiot proof, foolproof. You can spread this thing round at a pace, you know, with zero cares, because it's so easy to sort of spread around and spread far and thin that you can kind of mash your way down the side of the car, and the speed is ridiculous. You know, you sort of on and off in no time at all. You're talking minutes. You know, I could bash around a whole car in this in sub 10 minutes. I'd be confident of that. It really is that straightforward. And then, like I say, the net result of this is that you get all of what you want from that waxing process. So you get protection, You know, like I said just at the start of this video, it's about 3 months quoted durability, so the protection is there. The finish is brilliant. You know, very glossy, very much a wet look type finish, and you know, it's really sort of high class on the finish. The slickness on the paint with this one, you can feel it on your fingertips, is really tactile. It's a really sort of nice end finish. And even the water behavior, you know, I'll show you at the end of this, the water behavior on it was absolutely ace. And then Tony of Wax Planet has managed to do all that and bundle it into a bottle for 15 quid. And that's why I kind of typed this review up and I said I feel like I've cheated, because it really does feel like one massive shortcut. You know, it is just that straightforward. It is that simple. All in all, in terms of you know, the process, nothing that I could say could be improved, should be improved, tweaked, anything like that. It does exactly what you would expect from a liquid wax product, and you know, in a way that is, you know, borderline showing off. For 15 quid from Wax Planet, I think this is really an ace product. It is spot on. And then you have the addition of pairing it with Polygloss, and Polygloss just being a glossing enhancing spray, it ramps that finish up. You know, you really turn that finish up to 11, and you get this really overly wet, glossy finish. You know, and it's just one of those pairings for me, you know, like Bright Max have their metal twins. I think almost, you know, these two, they should be, you know, sold as a pair. You're looking £27 for the two. You know, would it be wrong if Tony just sold them at 30 quid all in? You know, would people sort of look at that and say it's not worth it? Absolutely not. I think he could do that, and I think they would really catch on. And I think as a pairing, I can't think of a quicker and easier way to get the finish that these two work together were able to get. So this is sort of the finish shots after a single coat of Duragloss and a wipe down with the Polygloss. And in a second, I'll show you the water behavior, the water beading as well. The water behavior, the pictures that I've took on the wing, it's been wiped down with the Polygloss, and on the bonnet, I left it just as the Duragloss to give them a comparative finish to see if the Duragloss, or sorry, the Polygloss would take or add to the actual beading part of it. And as you can see there, I don't really think you can tell any great difference. But as far as, you know, that water behavior, that water beading goes, these beads are top drawer. You know, I've got waxes that would cost 4, 5, 6 times what this bottle costs that bead the same. You know, no better. So in terms of the money side of things, it really is a bargain. And, you know, it's one of those, I think, overlooked bargains that more people should get on board with. That's about all I can tell you about this. Back to me in the kitchen. Right, so that was our look at Duragloss and Polygloss. What can I tell you in summary about them? They're both fantastically easy to use products that reap a tremendous result. It really is a shortcut to a great gloss and a great finish with fantastic water behavior as well. So if you're not really into paste waxes or you don't want to go to sort of the trouble, these are a fantastic way to do it. Can I recommend them? Absolutely. For me, they'll never replace waxing because I enjoy that as a process. But in terms of pure cold hard results in comparison to a paste wax, I think they hold their own. So if you are looking for something that is easeful, it's going to give you a fantastic finish and great water behavior, and at 3 months durability, great protection as well, I think they're going to be tough to beat. And as a pairing, when you're looking £27 for the two all in, what's not to love? I like them, hope you guys too. If you've used them, let me know in the comment section below. If you have any questions, ask them as always. Let's move on. So this is, I think, a first on the channel. I can't remember ever doing anything like this before, and this was a little bit of fun to prep. But this is going to be a winter shootout between these 8 wheel waxes. Now, why have I chosen these 8? Largely, it's because they are made in-house. What I wanted to do is make sure that I'm dealing with not to knock it, but potentially what is a repackaged version of the same thing. And by going direct to these guys that make their own products, that was the most surefire way to do that. The one exception to that, and I'm not saying they do or they don't, is the Auto Finesse one in the lineup, but I had this one already in my kit bag, so it just made sense to put it in there as it is a fashionable brand, and I know a lot of people do use Auto Finesse, so that one's in the mix just the same. But let's line up the competitors first, and then we're going to jump into the footage of application, and you can kind of see how I've set this test up to remove as many variables as possible, but I'm going to do that all in the footage shortly thereafter. So let me introduce you to the candidates for this test, and I'll tell you sort of what they do and a little bit of specs about them. So let's begin. So first we have Angel Wax Bilberry. This one is their smaller size. They do 150ml pot, and that retails at $14.99 direct on Angel Wax's website. With this one, you are looking at a quoted durability from manufacturer at 6 months. What I've done is worked out a price per 100ml. So with all of these being different sizes, so you can get a gauge on prices to sort of which ones are the cheaper and the higher end of the scale. And this one runs at £9.97 per 100ml. In terms of application, the manufacturer recommends 5 to 10 minutes cure time, and it can be layered as with the rest of them. So that's Angel Wax Bilberry. Auto Finesse Mint Rims next. This one 100ml tin is $19.95, so it gives you exactly that as a price per 100ml. The durability on this one is rated at 2 to 3 months, so certainly enough to get us through into the new year. This one holds the position of being the only fully synthetic wax in this lineup. And in terms of application on this one, they recommend 1 wheel at a time. Next we have Bouncers Looking Sweet. Again, 100ml tin on this one retails $13.99, so a good price per 100ml, as are the Angel Wax, but it does come ahead of the Auto Finesse on price per 100ml. Durability is rated on the manufacturer's website at 2 to 3 months, and this one is advised with application to remove after 1 to 3 minutes, so a little bit quicker on the working time, less of a leisurely pace with this one. But if speed is the thing that you need, or at least haste, then this one, it cures really, really quickly. So next we have BMD Revolutions. Again, this is the smaller size on this one. They do a 200ml, which retails at £69, giving us a £34.50 price per 100ml. That does put it at the top of the cost spectrum out of the 8 that are being tested here today. So I'm very keen to find out, will it earn its keep or justify its price? When you are looking at a manufacturer quoted durability of 4 months, it does underquote the durability of 2 of these other waxes by 2 months. So where does the cost come in? I'm keen to find out, and is the 4 months just an underquote? In terms of application, this one recommends you can do all 4 wheels before going back to remove. So nice leisurely pace on this one in use as well. Next we have Immaculate Reflection. Now when I scooped this one up, and it was £25 for the 100ml tin that's here, it was unclear as to whether or not this was going into their full lineup, and as yet it has not. Maybe it will in the future, but in this particular test it does hold the position of being the only natural wax. This is a carnauba wax, where the others tend to be more of a hybrid, or potentially like the Auto Finesse, a fully synthetic. So no quoted figures from the manufacturer. This one's in there as a bit of a wild card. I've put it in the mix just to see what it can do, and if it can hold its own against these bigger established brands. And that's Immaculate Reflection. Obsession Wax Tyrannis next, 150ml tin for your $19.95 investment. It gives you a price per 100ml at $13.30. So again, we're at the lower end of the price per. On this one, they recommend a durability of 2 to 3 months, and in terms of application, 10 to 15 minutes cure time. So again, at the more leisurely, relaxed pace of application in this instance. Then we have ODK Momentum. Again, smaller size pot that I've got here. The large one is available. The larger one retails at £50 for 200ml. So we're £25 per 100ml on this particular product. Durability on this one is rated at 3 to 6 months. It can be applied to all 4 wheels before removal, and it does hold the position of being the only one in this lineup to claim an SiO2 ingredient in the list as well, which should aid and boost the durability, but we'll see does that make a difference after we've tested it. And finally, Wax Planet Alloy. This one is £14 per the 100 ml. So again, it's at the lower end of the cost spectrum. Durability is rated at 2 to 3 months from manufacturer's specs. Can be applied to all 4 wheels before removal. So again, it's at the leisurely and slower end of the application pace. This one, as with the other 8, we're going to jump into it now so you can have a look at application and testing methods. And I will keep you updated as this progresses on Facebook and on Instagram as we go. So let's jump into it, check this out, and I'll see you just after. So this is the prepared wheel, and this is indicative of all 4. They were fully prepped, so it's sort of cleaned. Iron fallout remover was courtesy of Built Hamber Corosol. Tar remover was by Obsession Wax. They were clayed, again, Built Hamber there. They were given a CarPro Eraser wipe down. So I've done all I possibly can to sort of prep them. This is the test area. So what I'm pointing out there, so the front and back of those 2 spokes and the rim. By dividing the wheel up into 5 sections, and I'm using, in terms of the marker, that gap in between the spokes there that has the valve stem, that's going to be our control for these tests. So that one's going to receive 0 wax, and then going around in a clockwise fashion, there's 4 waxes. They go in alphabetical order. So this is going to go Angel Wax, Auto Finesse, BMD, and then Bouncers. So each wax was applied as per manufacturer's instructions, with layering done as they are describe. So some describe you can layer straight away, some say, you know, it takes a little bit more time. So all of that was done to give everything a fair and even measure. Everyone got their own applicator, everyone got their own removal cloth. So, you know, everything was kept as straightforward, minimal variables as possible. Now, the 8 waxes are going to be divided, like I say, 4 onto the front wheel, on one side of the car, and that the same 4 on the back wheel of that same side of the car. So that way they're both going to get you know, that heavy brake dust from the front wheel and that lighter brake dust from the rear wheel, and then the rinse and repeat on the other side is they're both the opposite side, that the next 4 are going to get the same. So front wheel and back wheel for both. In terms of the process, Angel Wax 1, very, very smooth to apply. It was oily, went on thin, went on well, buffed off nicely. I really liked the finish of the Angel Wax one. I thought it was really, really nice. The next one was the Auto Finesse one. Now, for me, it stood out as being the most old school feeling of the waxes. You know, in terms of after it was cured, it was chalky. You know, it did strike me as being a little bit out of place, out of the whole mix of them, in that it felt less refined. But that could be due to the fact it's the fully synthetic one. But for me, it sort of lacked a little bit of refinement in terms of that process. The BMD one next, and I'm expecting sort of you know, a real good measure with this one. It felt grainy in the pot. It took a little bit to get it oiling up, so, you know, I worked the pot with a finger a little bit, loaded up the applicator, but it was one of the smoothest to apply once you'd gone past that step, and removal again very, very straightforward. The Bouncers one, it was maybe the oiliest, joint oiliest of the lot, and I tie that with Wax Planet. So the Bouncers and the Wax Planet were the easiest two to lay down thin, and I am splitting hairs here between all of them. I would say at the opposite end of the scale, the Immaculate Reflection one took the most work, then the Auto Finesse one, and then the other 6 very, very similarly placed together. In terms of removal, again, they're almost in that order. I would have to say the Auto Finesse one, with its chalkiness on removal, I didn't like. I would sort of rank that the 8th. But the rest of them kind of going upwards from there. The Immaculate Reflection one was nicer to remove, and no real trouble, no real effort with the rest. So far in the test, all of a muchness by, you know, a few small tweaks. On paper so far, the Angel Wax should be the one to buy, but we're going to see how that goes. What I'm going to do is, as I wash the car on that sort of weekly basis, I'm going to put the footage into the episodes of the detailing show, and I'm going to put pictures on Instagram and Facebook as well. I think I may have already said that, in fact. But yeah, all in all so far, none of them standing out to me as being easier or harder, really, bar the ones I've mentioned. So I'm excited to see what they all do. So that's all the waxes applied. As you can see, the wheels sectioned and each wax being given a fair shot on the front and a back wheel, so it can get sort of the maximum and minimum amount of heat and wear available on my particular setup. Like I said just before we started, I'm going to go through the updates with this in the episodes of the detailing show as I have them, and I'm going to put pictures and details on Instagram and Facebook as we go. Hopefully this is as fair and as real world as I can make the test, but if you guys do have any suggestions for future testing or anything like that you'd like to see, I'm open to suggestions. So the comment section below is the place to put that. I'm always looking to read you guys' comments and see if there's anything I can do to improve or fine-tune what is going on just here. So next we're going to be taking a look at Maracana, which is the other liquid wax from the Wax Planet lineup. This one actually came out before the Duragloss and it's been tweaked. This is the 2nd gen version of this product. What you're looking at with this one is it's a tiny bit more than the Duragloss. It runs in at $16.99 for the 500ml bottle, which I still think is tremendous value for money. You're looking at a 6-week quoted durability from the manufacturer. With this one, it's got a few different additives in it comparative to the Duragloss, so it's designed to give a different approach to the same puzzle. So let's jump into the review and see, is it actually any good? Have a look at this. I'll see you shortly after. So Maracana then, this one is the older brother of Duragloss, and you know, in terms of costing, like I've already mentioned, this one comes in $16.99 per bottle. It's got a different formulation to Duragloss naturally, so I was expecting a few different things. So I'm going to make this a little bit more of a comparison between the two. You know, I was already expecting, after having tried the Duragloss on the other side already, I was expecting a similar comparable performance, and certainly was not disappointed. It did do just that. So application first is actually easier to apply than the Duragloss. Now, as a statement goes, it's kind of like, you know, really saying, you know, I'm at a loss for an analogy here. They're both a breeze. Neither one is difficult, but Maracana's easier. There we are. That's what I'm saying on that. In terms of removal, very, very straightforward. You know, the thing buffs like you're buffing just paint. You know, there's nothing really there in terms of the effort. In terms of the end result, and I'm going to show you some footage of the finished result, and then a little bit of footage just as the light is dying after I'd topped it with the Polygloss, because I decided to do that as well. And again, as a pairing, they work really, really well. This is the removal, this sort of speed that you can see, and you know, naturally I'm fast forwarded here, but in terms of what you've got here with the Maracana comparative to the Duragloss is a much crisper, more it's got more depth in the finish compared to the Duragloss. The Duragloss is very much a wet look gloss finish. This one's got more color and depth in the finish, but it's still got a real shine to it, a real gloss to it, just the same. In terms of the overall finish, I can see a reason to have both, but equally speaking, from Wax Planet's point of view, so the best way I can describe this is it's modest brilliance. That's the way I'm going to put it. You could quite easily, if you know, I was a wax producer, if I was sort of retailing these, you could have either or. There's no need to have both in the range, and the fact that both are in the range tell you that, you know, Tony understands that there are two different things, two different formulations, two different finishes, two different durabilities, so there is a reason to have both. So you know, no matter which one you pick up, you're not going to be disappointed, but that's the term I'm going with. It is modest brilliance to have both of these in the range, and to price them as they are, you know, despite the fact this one is a couple of quid more, I really don't see that as being any major problem. It's no major negative, because again, it is a bargain for what these things do. They are, you know, really, really bob on. And oh, this is just the Polygloss wipe down, like I said before, the final shots. In terms of the beading, I want to reserve a little bit of judgment on this one. I'll show you a shot of the beading on this one, but by the time I'm at the beading stages, or in actual fact the removal stages, It was cold, so there was condensation coming down on the panel. It was toying with the removal to a point, so I think that may have been just sort of scuppered a little bit by that. But all in all, another properly world-class product from Wax Planet. Back to me in the kitchen just to summarize this one. So I hope you enjoyed that look at Maracana. Having used it now and you've seen the footage, let me tell you what I think about it. I do think it's an absolutely brilliant product. It is, if anything, easier to use than the Duragloss, and really that is a statement of showing off on Wax Planet's point. I really do think with their two liquid wax products that they are both good enough to be the flagship of the Wax Planet lineup. Could I draw a winner between the two? Possibly, yes, depending on what you're after. Durability on this one being quoted at half as much as the Duragloss. Obviously, if durability is a priority, then the Duragloss would be the one to buy. Of ease of use, the Maracana is actually easier. That's not to say the Duragloss isn't an absolute breeze, but this one does pip it. The finish for me on the Duragloss is, as the name would suggest, a glossy type of finish, whereas this one has a little bit more depth, a little bit more colour in the reflection. This one tends to have more of a shine. It's an awkward one to try and quantify in words, so they are both brilliant products. But all in all, can I recommend one over the other? Yes, if I'm splitting hairs on the details. Can I recommend either? Absolutely, I'd recommend the Maracana as well. I think it is truly a fantastic product. But yeah, that's it. Links are below if you do want to try them out. And as always, blame it on me if you do want to scoop them up. So look into them and let me know how you guys get on as well. So that's this episode of the Detailing Show done. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that goodness. The viewership is growing day by day, week by week, and I'm immensely grateful to all you guys that do share, that do support, that do encourage, and do help the channel as it goes. Tune in next week. Next week, I've no idea what we've got because I haven't got it written down, so I do apologise for that. But I'm sure we'll mackle something together that you guys do enjoy. As always, thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.